What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Video Homicide. Welcome to day 2 of 31 Days of Horror. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Lamberto Bava classic, Macabre. Okay, Lamberto Bava, of course, being the son of Mario Bava, one of the Italian horror masters. And Lamberto also directed Demons and Demons 2, which is, two of my favorite films. I like Demons way more than Demons 2, but I love those movies and I love Lamberto Bava. So I need to watch some more of his films, but this one right here is so goddamn good. Macabre, or Macabre. This is a movie that's not talked about a whole lot. At least, I never really hear people mention this movie when it comes to, sort of one-off films. You know what I mean? I've been talking about that a lot lately, and I love movies that don't require fucking 35 sequels and spin-offs, prequels, all that kind of bullshit. So this is just a good little how do you do standalone horror film. And it takes place in New Orleans, and it stars Bernice Steggers. She plays this woman named Jane, who's cheating on her husband, and one day she's supposed to be taking her kids to go see a movie at the cinema, but instead she decides to visit with her lover at this boarding house where she's rented out this room, sort of living this double life, and she's madly in love with this guy named Fred. And it's weird because it kind of comes out of nowhere. Like the older sister and the little brother, like Jane's kids. The sister's like a weird kid right from the beginning, and she drowns her little brother, and then she calls the mother to relay what happened. And when the mother finds out what happens, she rushes home. Fred's driving, and they get into a brutal car accident where Fred is decapitated. And a year passes by, and she's now fresh out of this mental institution because I guess it really fucked her noodles up, if you know what I'm saying. And when she leaves, she doesn't go home because the husband's like disowned her, the daughter's like whatever. The daughter kind of wants to see her, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So she goes back to the boarding house where the son of the landlord is still there. He's blind. His mother recently passed, and now he's in charge of this boarding house. And Jane goes back there and lives there, and you can tell that like the landlord Robert, he's like a really nice guy, like not like a fucking basement dwelling nice guy, but like he's just like a decent dude. He's got his little job where he repairs instruments and stuff like that. Really respectable kind of guy. And right off the bat, like he turns all the electricity back on, i.e. like all the lights and stuff, because he didn't need them because he's blind, but he's being respectful to Jane. And like the first night she comes back, he kind of like realizes that the place is a disaster. Like there's dishes everywhere, and he picks them all up, and then he gives himself a shave and a shower and put on his Sunday best sort of thing, and invites her to come have dinner. And it's nothing much, as he says, and all it was a can of fucking chicken noodle soup. And I was thinking, like, this is no bullshit. I'm being serious here. Like, it's got to be hard for people that have like vision problems to differentiate the cans. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a bunch of canned goods, like, how do you know it's kidney beans or if it's chickpeas? It's got to be a really hard life to get used to. But anyways, she denies Robert of this interaction, but she says, maybe another time kind of thing. And she they kind of go on their lives a little bit, and she forgets to attend the dinner that they kind of planned. And he's like, you could tell he's sad about it, but she's like, why don't you come up and have a drink? So he goes up. They have a drink in the bathtub. She's naked, and like it shows her tits and her pussy in this movie like a few times, like enough times to get to understand what she's working with, if you want to call it that. But they're up there having the drink, and she's kind of like flirting with him a little bit, and you can tell he's kind of uncomfortable, and she's kind of like poking fun at him, like for being she accuses him of being jealous because she has someone coming over. And she's like throughout her stay at the boarding house, Robert can hear Jane upstairs like fucking like getting off, and he's like getting sexually frustrated about it, right? And he keeps hearing her say Fred, and Fred is the name of the guy that is deceased, like the guy that got his head cut off. And he starts to kind of be a little bit nosy, and he goes up into her apartment, and she's got this little fridge where there's a lock on the freezer, and he does his best to sort of like work around this lock, and eventually he gets the lock opened and sees that there's a head in there. Okay, Fred's head is in this freezer, but like he calls the husband like her ex-husband, he doesn't want anything to do with it. He thinks Robert's crazy. Lucy, the little daughter, who's been kind of coming around and, you know, trying to visit her mom and stuff, overhears this phone call between the father and Robert and goes back to the house and does her own exploration, and she finds that there is a head in the freezer, but she denies it to Robert, making it seem like he's the crazy guy. And, you know, it's this little girl that's really the driving force of the macabre in this film. She's a little cunt. I hate her. You know, she's not a horrible actress or anything. I just hate her character. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of like little tiny, like cool things in this film which lead Robert to wonder what the fuck's going on. Because when he's upstairs exploring the room at one point, he finds like this ear, like an earlobe that has an earring in the bed. And he's like, what the fuck is this? Like he keeps it and stashes it, and he puts it away, and he shows Lucy, because he's like, oh, I'm crazy? Well, what do you call this? And he shows her the ear with the little earring, and, you know, she kind of brushes it off. And then flash forward just a little bit with Robert, like, kind of questioning his own sanity and a little bit. He sits down to dinner with Lucy and Jane, and, you know, little Lucy's made this vegetable soup that is literally the exact same chicken noodle soup that Robert had made previously. You can tell, there's no vegetables in the soup. It looks like fucking piss with rice in it, and that's it. And, you know, he's like, I'm not hungry, but he takes a sip of the soup just to be polite. And then Jane, she takes a sip of the soup and then realizes that ear, like the earlobe, is in her mouth. She spits it out into the spoon, sees it, freaks the fuck out, and goes upstairs and, you know, takes some pills and stuff, try to calm down, because she's you know, she was in a mental institution for like a year, so she's, you know, her mind's all fucked up. Like, despite what she's doing, she's still going through some shit. And, you know, she's upstairs, and what she does next is insane, because the little girl comes up and is like teasing her, saying like, you know, everyone's gonna think you're crazy, blah blah blah, and all this and that, and oh, by the way, I'm the one that killed Michael, the reason why, you know, all this shit has happened. And then Jane just goes nuts, beats the shit out of her daughter, and then drowns her, and then proceeds to leave the tap running in the tub, and goes and, you know, basically has sex with this decapitated head. Like, she's grinding on these pillows, but she's got the head like where the head would be. And, you know, she's out of her fucking mind, man. But during all this scuffle, Robert falls down the stairs, and then he kind of comes to when there's all this water coming down the stairs at him. And he's like, what the hell is going on? He goes up and discovers, you know, Jane is completely fucking euchred in the mind. And they have a little bit of a scuffle in the kitchen, and Jane gets like put into this huge oven thing. It's like a weird looking toaster oven, like a really big toaster oven, and she gets killed in that. Like, Robert, you know, kind of like not purposefully, but like it just happens, like she dies. And then he goes out into the like the little bedroom area where he sees the head, or he doesn't see the head, but he like, you know, he feels around, feels that the head is there, and then the head just like bites his throat, and that's the end of the film, like on a freeze frame. Love this fucking movie. Okay, I know that was a lot of information to take in all at once, but I'm telling you right now, this is the type of movie that if you haven't seen, watch the shit out of it, man, because it is so good. It's like I've been saying, man, all these like self-contained horror films, The Burning, Maniac. Let me think of some other ones, for fuck's sakes, before I look like an asshole. Regardless, okay, Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox, like all these movies that did not require sequels. Martin, George Romero's Martin. Like, there's a lot of good ones out there, and this is so good. So if you're into an Italian, you know, if you're into Italian cinema, you're into Italian horror, you want to, you know, brush up on your chops, watch some of Mario Bava's son's movies, which I think is really cool. Definitely go ahead and watch Macabre. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody for watching. Leave a 666 in the comments, and with that being said, adios.